I'm extraordinarily pleased that what I get to do now is to introduce you to one of my favorite protectors of progress, Jaylen Boone, the U.S. Youth Observer to the United Nations. Jaylen was born and raised in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and he's now a senior at the University of Texas at San Antonio, double majoring in global affairs and sociology. Jaylen's commitment to combat challenges such as extreme poverty and climate change has taken him across the globe, working in communities from Hong Kong to Japan to South Africa. He is absolutely committed to the power of local engagement, and he's convinced that community activists and young change makers in particular will be decisive in seeing the SDGs succeed. Jaylen is the founder and executive director of Sustainable Youth in Action, a nonprofit organization that gives students the tools to develop their ideas and turn them into projects or businesses, whatever that future demands. He also loves to sing and compose music, and he is the former director of the University of Texas at San Antonio's Gospel Choir and a Bible study leader with the Chi Alpha Campus Ministries. Jaylen is a Global Citizen Curtis Scholar, Cultural Vistas Fellow, winner of the 2016 Gates Millennium Scholarship, and I will say here in front of a full room of witnesses that the minute Jaylen runs for office, I am signing up. So you are in for a treat, and Jaylen, it is over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm so inspired by Elizabeth, and it's been a great year at the UN Foundation getting to see the transition from Kathy, because honestly, the UN Foundation is under such great leadership, so thank you so much. Wow, so great to be here, guys. And so I wrote a speech for you today, and this speech is for everyone, but I'll have a minute to speak specifically to the young people in the room, because I believe that we're more than just the future, but that future is now. So, what if I told you that everything you attempt and everything you put your hand to would not fail? What would you do? What would you start? Now, what if I told you that everything you attempt and everything you put your hand to would indeed fail? What then would you do? What then would you give up? What then would you start? The late Kofi Annan, who was the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations, put it this way: to live is to choose, but to choose well, you must know who you are and what you stand for, where you want to go and why you want to get there. Can I be honest? I usually don't like conferences and summits, and here's why. We travel, we come to these nice places, fancy hotel venue, talk about these issues that we're encountering, we learn new things, pledge commitments, make new contacts, and leave almost 90% of the time with this burning desire to enact change. But then work happens, school happens, kids happen, and simply put, life has a way of throwing our choice to enact change down the drain. Your words, your actions, your time spent at that conference, all for nothing? So then, why do we still do them? I believe that there are those of us who arrive with no other desire but to see the issues we care about brought to an end. They arrive with no expectation but rather an agenda to push forward the fight, tear down the strongholds, and overcome every barrier. Friends, this is no mystery. In fact, some of you sitting here know this, that there exist those who fight and those who fight with passion. Today, I'm not asking you to make a choice. I'm asking you to first find who you are and what you stand for, where you want to go, and why you want to get there. If you can find these things, I believe that the world in 2030 and beyond will be all that we envision and more. A world free of homelessness and hunger. A world where things like the coronavirus doesn't exist. Sure, we can all be advocates, but I believe each of us has a clear calling. A calling that sometimes we're often afraid of. I want to assure you that here because we want to get in on this fight against malaria. I'm sure all of you are here because of that. But I understand that this is just not everyone's calling. Maybe we do need more funding and resources to mitigate malaria. But honestly, more than ever, this world needs you, your ideas, your innovations, your science, and your art. They need your passions. Because separate, we're nothing. But together, we're strong, we're unbreakable. In order for any machine to work efficiently, it needs a variety of things, from bolts and screws to engineers and designers. And the same, for our world to move forward and our goals to be accomplished, we need doctors, lawyers, local activists, and even you writers. Not everyone will be able to treat those with malaria on the ground, but everyone plays a part in seeing a number of cases and deaths decrease. So let's talk about you finding that passion. Think about what makes you angry. That one thing you just cannot stand. Can you feel it? Because I know I can. Take it and let that drive the work that you do. Let that emotion, that conviction steer you toward 2030 and even after this summit. Make a choice, stick with it, and live it out. We need to be bold change makers. Students, it's not just about our resumes. Nonprofits, it's not just about our impact reports. It's about looking for opportunities to grow, to be challenged, and maybe a little uncomfortable. I was asked to speak on the world we envision in 2030 and beyond. And I've had a lot of speaking engagements this year, and that usually entails something along the lines of, a world free of poverty, free of hunger, how important the youth voice is for this movement, how vital it is to be given a seat at the table, how companies and UN leaders need to start supporting us and what we're doing on the ground. But if you would let me, I would entreat you with a different message. I'm 21. I'm a senior in college, born and raised in the streets of Ypsilanti, Michigan. And I want to deliver to you a different message. If you're 21 like me or younger, could you raise your hand? Keep your hand up. If you're even under the age of 30, could you raise your hand? Beautiful. This message is for you. We don't need their table. Sure, we'll keep pushing for policy change and creating movements. But you see, one thing I've noticed over the last few months as youth observer is that the table we're building, it's good enough. In fact, I know a climate activist named Greta Thunberg who's offering seats. A Parkland survivor named Emma Gonzalez who's offering seats. A young man named Carlos Marquera down the street fighting for interns on Capitol Hill who's offering seats. Female education activist and hero Malala who's offering seats. Black Lives Matter advocate and civil rights leader Jamira Burley who's offering seats. Peacekeeper and writer Sandra Uwinagini-Mana who's offering seats. Young people everywhere, there are seats available to you. So to all my fellow youth champions, stop waiting for an invitation from the White House or for a letter signed from the UN Secretary General. Instead, pull up a chair and let's start making decisions for our shared future. Thank you.